Hi everyone, welcome to School of Scarlet. I'm so happy to have you here today. So today I have the incredible Duck Lady story. So if you haven't heard this story before, I encourage you to stick around to the very end because this story is incredible. This story is the kind of stories that I wish we would hear more about on the news, on just different places. I actually heard about the Duck Lady many years ago. I don't know how I found the video, but it popped up on my YouTube, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. And it really impacted me when I listened to her story. And ever since that time, every time I've had an office, I would go see clients and things in my workplace, I'm a counselor, I would have these eggs. And so these are Easter eggs. And I thought that I would go ahead and share this story with you today. I was at the store today. I was shopping at Walmart and we're getting ready for our camping trip. We're going to do an Easter camping trip. And I needed to get some Easter eggs. I no longer work in a counseling office where I have a basket of eggs anymore, but I saw those eggs and it sparked an interest to speak this to you. This story is really actually a story about abundance. So if you feel abundant, this story will resonate with you. If you're not feeling abundant, this story will point to you how you are abundant and will uplift you and show you abundance right here in this moment. So I'm going to be sharing this story with you for those purposes, to really evoke the energy of abundance and the energy of unconditional love that the Duck Lady so held. So what are these eggs for? Why did I have them in my office? What are they about? Well, we're going to get started with that, but that comes a little later on. Let's start with the Duck Lady. So the Duck Lady was a lady who lived in Vancouver, Canada. She was a woman who was, to me, seemed like a very sensitive-hearted woman. And anyhow, the story starts off, as far as where I know it starts off as, she was on a bus going home, and something in her, some divine voice or something told her to stop and get off at that one stop that was not her usual stop to go home. So she got off the bus at this one stop, and there was a duck hatchery. And something in her told her to go into the duck hatchery and get herself a duck. So she went into the hatchery and she picked out her duck. And when she picked out her duck began to be her best friend. They bonded. They instantly were in love with each other. And so they had this bond. She claims this duck was like a holy duck when you listen to her story. Now, one day she took this duck out into public and people began to pet the duck and want to touch the duck because the duck was very friendly, because it was so used to her that it would walk with her, that it would be with her, that other people wanted to touch the duck. So one day these children were touching the duck, and one of the child had something wrong with their hands, some kind of medical issue. And, they were petting the duck, and someone had said that the duck was a magical duck. And so she explained that it's a magical duck, but it's not going to like heal you or anything, because they were thinking that it was a healing or a special psychic duck. And she said, no, it's just a magical duck. You place your wishes as you pet the duck. And so the children made their wish and pet the duck. The next day, the child that was sick came back and showed her hands to the Duck Lady, and everything that was wrong with the hands had cleared up. The child was no longer sick. And so the child said the duck had healed her. The Duck Lady didn't say much, but anyhow, this duck was seen as something special. They called it the psychic duck. And so this duck, lots of people wanted to touch it and to make wishes with it and all of these things. And so this duck had kind of like this special career, basically, and became kind of special for that. And she goes on to explain that once the duck passed, it was very hard for her. But even after the duck passed, another psychic came and told her that that duck was coming through wearing a suit. And I know it sounds weird, but these are the weird things that happen. And so she was given that message. And at that point, it was a sign for her to go pick out her next duck. So she picked out her next ducks, and I believe it was 2 ducks or something like that. Anyhow, one of the ducks was an artist. The duck had, its feet, and it would paint. It would get its feet in the paint and it would splatter paint on to different things. And this duck became quite famous and was like on Sesame Street, was on the news, just different things, right? So this duck became quite famous for this, and the duck lady was basically, the one that inspired this duck to be this way. And so you can see the love between the duck lady and her ducks and how this stuff flourishes from her. Okay, so she has that duck, the duck that's the painting duck, and then she has another duck, and the other duck is named Bobby. Anyhow, these ducks begin to cause trouble because they are so famous. People are looking at them, and they're coming to her apartment, and there's just all this commotion. So she actually gets evicted from the apartment building where she was living, and she becomes homeless. At that same time, she discovers that she has multiple sclerosis. And so that is a debilitating autoimmune disease. And so she was on the streets, very weak, was not hardly able to walk, to stand very long. She would have to sit, she'd fall asleep. She talks about having to get into a trash bag at night to sleep as if it were a blanket. And that's when she really felt like trash, like the lowest of the low. And she never wanted to feel like that again. So something in her was inspired to start a charity called Duck Soup. And Duck Soup was something that came into her consciousness, her reality, that needed to happen to share with others, other people that were feeling that way that she felt when she put on that trash bag. She goes on to say that as she declined in her health, she would sit on benches and things outside, and people would begin to treat her even worse. People themselves would spit on her, would kick dirt on her, would call her names, and all of this. She began to see this, and it was very hurtful. You can see the pain in her. And I will link that video, the interview video, down below. I strongly encourage you to go click on that and watch that for yourself. So she explains how that was very hurtful, and she didn't ever want anybody to feel like that again. She wanted people to feel like winners, to be uplifted. One of her gifts of abundance, I call it, is unconditional love. She has the gift of wanting to just give. She has an overflow that's just very natural within her that she wants to give. And you can see that even though she has pain, she is able to give with that overflow. So she has the abundance of unconditional love. So she wanted to make other people like her, like people that were homeless and on the streets and things like that, feel like winners. So her charity Duck Soup, she would get a little plastic bag and have a couple cookies in there, some food for, the homeless. And in between the cookies would be a little plastic thing with money in there. There could be $1, there could be $5, it could be $50, it could be $100. The money that was in there came from donations. So she would gather donations, and some of the times the money was her own money, she says. And so she would put that money there. And when she would encounter homeless people and people that were just feeling as low as she had when she had crawled into that trash bag and felt like trash, she goes up to them and tells them, "Hey, you've won the lottery. You've won something. You get to pick a cookie out of my bag." And it was Duck Soup. She had her ducks, so it was all a thing. People were excited. They really were excited about it. The duck was there, the bag was there. So they go in there and they take out their little baggie of cookies and look into the cookies and see what's there. Someone wins $50, $100, even if it's $1, she would make them feel like winners. She would say, "Yes, you're a winner." And she'd hold their hand or whatnot and just make them feel like winners. And the reason that she did this was to make them feel like winners, but to also give them money without having anyone ask them, "Hey, what are you going to do with that money?" or judging them about it. They had won that money. They were entitled to that money. It's a whole different energy when you are the winner as to when you are the beggar. So she wanted to transmute and transform that. Now, she didn't know that she was doing that. She's not talking about this in this interview, but I see it this way, and it's a very interesting story to me. That's why I share it with you. So instead of making people feel like they're beggars, like they're having to beg for money, she makes them feel like winners. That uplifts them and transforms them into a whole nother energy where now they can use that money, even if they won $100, and spend it as winners. And most of the times they spend it very well. And so we want to give people that freedom, that trust, that uplifting to inspire them to be winners. Why do we want to keep them as beggars? So she transmuted that. And so that's something that I really wanted to incorporate in the places that I worked, because I've mostly worked in nonprofit organizations where our services had always been completely free to the clients. Most of the clients had not had money, they were very poor. I pretty much worked with the lowest income population at every place I worked. So I like to have little things for the children, little things for the adults, things like that to uplift them. Because if I can uplift them, get their hearts to open a little bit, then there I can enter and there I can help with whatever it is that they're coming to me for, because they're coming for counseling. So I have to do something to have that opening. And sometimes these people are so hardened by life. They've been treated so badly. They've been, neglected. They've been treated like this duck lady, dirt thrown on them, spit at them. She even talked about people ashing their cigarettes on her, treated this way. And so they have no trust for anyone. They have no hope for themselves, and they have no trust for themselves. So, as a counselor, as someone who has an overflow, who has something for them, we have to come into their energy in a way that we can uplift them, that we can give them a little bit of that so that they can match, they can come into that. So I encourage you today, whether you are the one wanting to uplift others or be uplifted, to engage in this energy of abundance. It's very much here now. We have so much abundance in this world. We can either give a lot, or there is a lot for us to go receive right now. There just is. Abundance is overflowing everywhere, my friend. So tap in to what it is that's going on with you. If you are someone who has an overflow right now, go get yourself some eggs like this. I didn't do the little baggy thing because for some reason when she said duck soup and all this stuff, I thought of Easter eggs with the duck lady. I kind of connected that for some reason. So I went out and got these little eggs, and I put different things in there. Now, working at a nonprofit, we can't give people money. So we would put different kinds of candies, sometimes different like little prizes, and have the children pick them out. Okay. I had another one for mothers that had like special, like inspirational stickers, had like maybe earrings, had like cute things that a mother may want. So I would do that with my clients. Now I'm getting ready to go on an Easter camping trip. We're going to go camping this year for Easter, and so I'm thinking of things to do out when we're camping. So my daughter's too old for Easter egg hunts, really. She's already told me she's not interested in that. So we're going to do Easter eggs, and I'm going to do them differently this way. I'm going to do them in the way that I used to do them at my counseling center. We're going to go around the campsites and make people feel like winners. So I'd like to inspire you today as a challenge to go out there and do something like this. Either copy this exact challenge or do something that is more aligned to what is aligned to your heart, and inspire others if you have an overflow. And if you're feeling lack of abundance right now, just realize that there is abundance everywhere. There is people that are wanting to help. There is so much out there. You just have to get out there. If we close ourselves off, if we shut ourselves away, we can't experience that abundance. So we just have to get engaged with life a little bit. If we need help, there is no shame in seeking help. I have sought help for many things throughout my life, and it has all been a blessing, and it has all been for the good. It has always been something that has led to growth. So don't be ashamed to seek help. There is so many wonderful people out there that are wanting to be part of your experience, whether you realize that or not. So this message is really about abundance. We can find abundance in our own lives, even if we don't see our bank account full of money. It's not all about money, okay? For me, one of the greatest abundances that I have, and I wouldn't even trade this for money, is the freedom to have time to myself, to do the things that I like to do. There is nothing more abundant than freedom. And freedom comes with the freedom of your time, not having to be limited or tied down to any one thing. You have the freedom to choose at all times. So that is a great abundance. Now, at the same time, that may be your level of abundance, but your bank account may not be super full or whatever the case. Abide in the abundance that you do have, and all else will follow. So if you abide in the abundance of freedom of time or whatever it is that you have, and you enjoy that to the fullest and you make the most of that, then everything else will follow. The money, all of that will come. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to effort it. You don't have to do much for it. It just will come. So I encourage you to look at your life, look at your situation. Where do you have abundance? We all have abundance right now. This is a wonderful time because there is just so much abundance here on earth. Maybe you have the blessing of being a parent. Sometimes that can be hard to be a parent. There's challenges in being a parent, but it is such a blessing to be a parent. And so that is a blessing and an abundance that you have. Other people may be really wanting that abundance for themselves, and you have that abundance. So if you have abundance with, you have a child or you're a parent, engage in that. Love that abundance that you have, and everything else that you want will be added. You have to go in this moment and really enjoy this moment, is really all that it's about. If you have wonderful pets, if you have a beautiful area that you live, that you can walk around, that you have beautiful friends, that you have family, maybe you have a very artistic mind, maybe you have a love of movies, maybe you love to dance, whatever abundance that you have, and abide in that, love it, and really see it for abundance, and you will be added and added with more and more. I believe there's a Bible verse somewhere in the Bible about that as well, that, those that have more shall be given, or something to that effect. You would think it would be the ones that had less, but no, it's the ones that recognize that there is abundance in their lives here and now. If we don't even recognize that we have abundance, if we don't believe that we have abundance, we don't have it. We don't experience it in our reality, even though it actually is available to us. So we cut ourselves off from it completely, and it just doesn't enter. So we have to open the door for abundance and say, abundance is here. Abundance is welcome here. And, whatever abundance you do have now, celebrate that abundance. The abundance of time is amazing. And so many people do have that. And even if you don't have the abundance of time, you might be working a job and you might not have the abundance of freedom of time because you're working for someone else. But maybe you have a lot of money in the bank. Then you have the freedom of having financial freedom, having money in the bank. And with that, you can create, or somehow you will align with that perfect thing that is aligned with your sacred heart, that is perfect for you, where you have more freedoms, where you have exactly what you want, where you have that balance of what you want. But you have to recognize the abundance you have currently. And if you have an overflow, don't forget to give, to always give to others. Don't forget the Duck Lady. The Duck Lady has never left my mind. I think about her a lot, and I really wish that I could work more with the homeless in my community. I used to work with them, and I had the great privilege of counseling homeless people in my community and getting to know them one-on-one. These people are not to be spat on. These people are not to be degraded and treated badly. They are not. They are a reflection of you, and we must uplift them. We must love them. We must see them as human. We must have some unconditional love and compassion for these people. In counseling these people, I will tell you that the majority of homeless people are either very mentally ill, have gone through some very traumatic experiences in their lives prior to the time that they had very much control, abuse during their childhood, things that you would never even conceive have happened to these people. So they are overcoming, and they're going through a journey that's a little bit different than maybe yours or mine. It's a little deeper, a little bit darker, but it is so amazing too. The homeless people I have worked with have touched my heart. These people you wouldn't think that they are the way they are. I don't know how to explain it to you, but they are some of the strongest people I've ever met. I would ask them sometimes about what was going on with them, and sometimes the most they could complain about was that their feet hurt. Yet I would have another person come in who was the wife of a multimillionaire, and she had a million and one things to complain about. And so you don't always judge people because of what their outside appearance is or what is happening. I've also met some homeless people that I would say are almost saints. Like, they have a level of consciousness that, whether you think that psychosis or schizophrenia, there is something very special there. And so we don't want to write these people off. Uplift them, show them love. I saw a homeless person the other day that used to only like beg all of the time, and now they were selling water bottles for $1. He had his water bottle cooler and he was selling water bottles. So I had to like give him props for that. You're doing amazing, because now he's moving on up. And these are the things that happen for people is when you show people love, when you show people encouragement, they grow. It's like a plant, anything. The more you show it attention, love, encouragement, it grows. As a matter of fact, the duck lady, she mentions with her first duck, the duck would say mama, would say certain words to her. And that happens when we show our pets and animals lots of love. When there was a time prior to my awakening that I was staying at my home all alone, kind of taking a gap year. I'm a bit of a hermit. I like to take some time to myself here and there. So this was a time that I had taken away to reflect on a lot of things. And I was with my dog Blue. If you've seen him in my videos, he's a chocolate lab with really ice blue eyes. And he had never spoken to me before or anything like that. But that year that I was there, we spent a lot of time together. We cuddled a lot. He was my protector, just everything. And he began to talk. And I got him all on video many times. He was saying, Mama. He would say, Mama, to get my attention. He would begin to say other like sounds, like he was trying to say other words, although I couldn't put those together. But he could say, Mama. And my cat, which is not actually my cat, it's my husband's cat. He pays more attention to her, but I give her more space. My husband likes to really smother her. He loves to be with her, to pet her and all that stuff. But I see her and I respect her. And I see when she needs space because she's also a very cranky cat. If you don't know my cat and you'd like to, you can go on my vlogging channel. I have a video about grounding with my cat Sasha, and she's a very grumpy cat. So I know her personality, so I give her some space. And intuitively, we have built a relationship where I know what she wants. It's crazy. But she respects me. And guess what? She calls me Mama. So I have a cat and a dog that call me Mama. Now, how does that happen? Because of love, because of giving them attention, because about being with them. So you have to just respect your animals and just love them and know them. Now, so these things happen. And so I'm just giving you some different examples of things that can happen when we show unconditional love to others. We see growth, we see change, we see beauty. When you water a plant, when you nourish anything, it grows. So start by nourishing yourself. Fill up your own cup and make sure that your cup is full before you go out there and try to give anything to anybody else, because otherwise you're going to be very frustrated. So find out if you need to give or receive. And we actually need both. So we got to find our balance to be able to do both. But if we're too depleted, we're not ready to give. So let's look into that, see what we need to do for ourselves. And I encourage you to take the challenge when you're ready, when your cup is full, to go inspire others and to be like that duck lady and to go out there and give people some duck soup. I hope this message was inspiring to you. Please go watch the Duck Lady's video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment down below. It's an easy and free way to support my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all.